Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Halfback Dynasty. My name is Brendan. We are joined today with our co-host, Tyler, the legendary Gator Sons. Tyler, how the heck you feeling, my friend?
Feeling great, Brendan. Had a nice day, a little solo day. Took my niece out to lunch, hung out with her, played some FIFA. Dude, it's been a great day. Been looking at my lineup, just praying to the fantasy gods that Chris Godwin, I don't know, dude, like tape your foot, put a screw in it. I don't know. Coming out of a bye week and Godwin's all of a sudden questionable on a Wednesday. Don't like that at all. But if he doesn't go, Brendan, I'm buying the hype, man. I'm rolling Ayuk. He's back, baby.
Honestly, he is. 2 pretty good weeks in a row. But more importantly, what I want to suggest is I'm very happy you've come around to the legit sport of football, actual soccer, FIFA, not American football. Tyler, thank you for joining us internationally. We love it. We love it. Is FIFA good? You like it? Good game?
I love it, man. I've played FIFA since, I think my brother and I got FIFA on, had to be the original PlayStation at like 92, 93, somewhere in there. And
wow.
Yeah, I buy it every year. It's essentially just recycled rosters, but feel like you got to get the new one every year. So I was rolling Madden pretty hard, but man, ever since I got back into FIFA, Madden hasn't come out in a couple weeks. So
wow, dude, there was a couple years, I think around like 2012, 2013 of Madden, where you could literally return, I don't know, like 80% of the kickoffs. Like the kick returns were almost automatic. Like kick
start over here and kind of loop around.
Dude,
yeah, man, you catch that block and you're gone.
Yeah. Dude, Percy Harvin was so legit in those days because Madden would like formulate, kind of dynasty wise, the potential overall upgrade. And like, I remember Madden, I don't know, maybe 17, 18. I was drafted like Juju Smith-Schuster, who had like
for sure, man.
Overall. Heck, I even drafted Tyler Boyd because playing Dynasty, I was like, dude, Dynasty's way ahead of Madden and whatnot. But
youth is all that matters, man. You talk about a busted Dynasty pick there with Percy Harvin. Man, that dude, occasionally you're like, oh, he's finally coming on. He looks so good.
He was cold as a prospect.
Hurt, out of the league. I mean, Percy Harvin, man.
Dude, he was dope. I mean, let's be honest. His talent was legit there. Just unfortunately never lined up, man. Never lined up.
He reminds me of Tyler Lockett almost. And maybe that's because of the Seahawks. I don't know. But Tyler Lockett's been able to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Tyler Lockett can have 200 plus yards and 3 touchdowns any given week, or he can have 12 yards and 1 catch, but same kind of player to me.
Yeah, I will never trade for a Tyler Lockett because of that. I mean, unless my roster was so good at the starting lineup where I could afford a Tyler Lockett in the flex, it's not worth it. Not worth it. But I totally get it. Percy Harvin was like that. I mean, he was a speedster, and it just unfortunately never worked out, man. But you know what? The hope was there. And that's all that mattered. He gave us enough to eat, baby.
Sometimes on Dynasty, the hope just carries you for a long time, buddy. You know that.
I totally get it. Dope. Tyler, a lot has happened since we last met. It's been 2 weeks. We couldn't get together this past weekend just because of we decided that certain personal life actions mattered more than NFL football and fantasy football. Were we right for that? Probably not. So we are sorry.
Sometimes, man, you got to get out there. It was 71 in Colorado on Sunday morning last week. So got out and played. I only played 9 holes. My dad and my brother booked it for 18, but because of fantasy, I bagged it at 9. And then I was stressed out all afternoon.
Did you win last week? Please explain to the people. Did you win last week?
one of the ugliest games in my dynasty history. I won, I believe, 73-66. And the only reason I won is because your boy, Montgomery, came off IR because the guy who was playing had Herbert Monday night. And I heard on the way into work that Montgomery was playing, and it was like, oh, my only hope is that Herbert doesn't touch the field, and he essentially didn't.
I think he got like 1.3 points.
1 point. Yeah, exactly, man. Because my team, CeeDee Lamb busted. The guy was playing against got 2 garbage touchdowns from Prescott with like 5 minutes left. He got the unbelievable stat line. Adam Thielen caught 2 balls for 7 yards and a touchdown. I don't usually get fired up at fantasy, but I'm not going to lie, Brendan. I was pretty fired up on Sunday.
That's how we do.
I wasn't
That's
having
how
fun.
we do. That's how we do. Cool.
That was a huge game, man. It was for second place. Huge game.
Yeah, so during that Bears game, I was at the Bulls game when the Bulls beat the Nets, but I was streaming the Bears game, and the first couple quarters definitely not good at all. Justin Fields is looking progressively better, which is good. Granted, I know it's only like 2 weeks since that absolute slaughter since Tampa Bay, but Justin Fields has a really good hookup with Darnell Mooney. I mean, Mooney looks good. Allen Robinson is nothing. I'm really surprised the Bears didn't trade Allen Robinson at this point. They really should have. Last year, the contract should have took anything they could have gotten for him, but it is what it is. And beyond all this and beyond, I don't want to talk too much about NFL, but the officiating for that Monday night game off the recaps and highlights, I saw bogus, bro. That was really bad. That was I know for me, I'm a little bit more biased, even though I didn't catch the game live. I caught the game live, Tyler, but I wasn't like paying attention because I had another live game ahead of me. But the point is, I mean, even from your perspective, that game looked really suspect from the officiating point of view. I mean, it was bad, bro. It was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly, man. I thought the officiating stuck out. The big thing, 2 things that stuck out for me: the running, the scramble touchdown throw to Mooney, very impressive from Fields. And number 2, man, I always go back to your mom. Your mom's going to be wearing shorts for a long time, man. It's no good. It's no good.
She's in shorts right now.
I know she is. You're getting into that season in Chicago too, where shorts, no good day to day. So, I mean, you got to be getting close to frigid temperatures, but yeah, I always think about your mom when they're getting blown out or something. It's just like, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. So low key, somebody graffitied a little bit of our like storefront today. Well, last night, like we had pillars. And so my entire morning, because we're open on Saturdays, right? Monday through Saturday. So I'm basically 6 days a week. And Saturday's usually pretty chill. We get great clientele, people traveling because they're not working. But today, for about an hour and a half, I literally had to cover over graffiti with a paint Sharpie. And the point being it sucked, but it is what it is. It doesn't happen often. I mean, it's just, business owner, it happens, but rarely ever happens. But my point being is I was outside with like 39 to 43 degree weather in a jacket,
so chilly today.
In jeans. Yeah, I mean, it was chilly. As I was painting, my hands were getting a little cold, right? Like I was like, this sucks. Like, in my head, I'm swearing. I'm like, this effing sucks. And then on top of this, as I'm painting over, my mom walks outside in her shorts, and I'm thinking to myself, like reminding myself the past like 15 years, gosh darn it, if I'm out here feeling some pain right now for being outside for 10 minutes with my hands feeling a little frostbite, even though it wasn't close to frostbite, I'm sitting here thinking about how my mom would feel being out here during an Arctic tundra, minus 30 degrees in some shorts, which she was outside in some shorts today. And, all I got to say, man, is just, I'm grateful. One, I'm grateful I'm not as wild as my mom. But 2, I'm grateful because I know very well not to bet on the Bears that frequent, because the Bears will not take home a Super Bowl in, 85 to 2020. What is that? 15?
It's a lot of years.
40 years? I don't know, bro. How long is that? My point being is, if I was today in mid-November, how is my mom going to be feeling in mid-January, brother?
She's not going to be feeling good, Brennan. The big question that all the viewers I know have is on Saturday when you guys are at the office. You guys got donuts?
So a couple Saturdays ago, we brought donuts. We did.
Oh,
We did. We
man,
did.
that's what makes a Saturday worth it is some
We
donuts. I
did. You're
brought
so
donuts to work on 2 Fridays ago. It was like it was Christmas, man. People are like, "Oh my God, what's the occasion?" Like people just flip out about donuts at
Saturday.
work because you don't want to be there.
The occasion is tomorrow, Sunday
Yeah.
football, baby.
The occasion is there's donuts. It's,
So yeah, we did donuts a couple
yeah, that's
weekends
kind of
ago.
all that matters.
Yeah, donuts are dope. Donuts are dope. What we just found out, actually, so we've done donuts multiple times. But what we found out like 2 weekends ago when we did it, not many of our staff eat donuts because we've turned over our staff completely. Not because of ourselves per se, but because of COVID, and we've grown immensely. And like we just hired a brand new staff of like all of them been here about 3-4 months now, and our staff's awesome. Honestly, in my opinion, this might be biased, the greatest staff we've ever had. Our business is booming right now in terms of relation to previous, but like we've ordered many donuts and they don't eat donuts, bro. I've eaten out of a dozen. I've literally eaten 3 to 4 every time we brought them in. So now I'm making the executive decision: no more donuts, no mas.
Yeah,
So
yeah, man. I mean, at least you're picking up the slack there. When I
who
worked, I used
doesn't
to
like
work at
donuts?
yeah, I used to work at an organic food company, and I mean, obviously in Colorado, which is it's not good. The people you work with. So if you brought in like pizza or donuts or nobody'd even touch it. It's like, don't worry, the pepperoni's free range, like whatever you got to do.
So I've even made the joke like in front of all the employees, like while the lid's open, because we're having a meeting. And I said, "Oh, this is that type of situation where no one wants to be the first one to grab a donut. So I'll grab one." And then I grab one because it's my family business and I'm not shy. Like I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you got to
My
do
language.
it.
I'm like, okay, like I pay for these, so I'll gladly
gotta
eat a
do it.
donut. And then like only a couple others, and I just want to be like, are you guys like donut malfunction in a sense? Like, come on. But so now I'm gonna ask them, and like our staff is very good, but a little more artistic in a sense. Like I think they would more so appreciate like pastries, and which donut might be a pastry, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
Or
things
like
that.
fancy donuts, like
Yeah.
fancy, like lavender or elderflower donut or
Tyler,
something.
I mean croissants.
Croissants. All right, man. All right.
So
Well, should we get to some Dynasty stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, this
Or
has
we
been a
could
good
talk about
conversation.
donuts.
Yeah, we can talk about croissants for a minute. So okay. Let's jump into some Dynasty football. Tyler, so here is the deal breaker that I've been experiencing. Thank goodness I do not have multiple of these individuals in one league. I have a lot of these individuals across the leagues, but the big topics of conversation: 1, Derrick Henry, definitely a no-go for the rest of the year. 2, Calvin Ridley, definitely a no-go for the rest of the year. 3, Bobby Trees, a no-go for the rest of the year. Now I'm sitting here thinking nobody is safe. So here is what I would like to talk about today. Clearly, at this point in the season, you need to determine if you are contending. If you are not contending, then you need to figure out who you can sell to rebuild and contend earlier on in the near future. If you are contending, you need to figure out which of these players that you could sell to help you contend. And Derrick Henry did not scream sell as a contender 3 weeks ago. Bobby Trees did not scream sell as a contender this past week. You know what I'm saying? Calvin Ridley, same idea. 2 weeks ago, you did not scream sell. So here is the situation right now. Tyler, you're contending right now. Granted, I don't think you have any of these players in the big league that we have together. But if you did and you're contending, what do you do? Are you holding? Do you need these guys to make a run? Clearly, you probably did. But does it serve you better to eat a little bit of that value and hold? Hopefully, they come back stronger the next year, or sell for a little bit less to help you contend this year. Tough call, my friend.
I think most of it comes down to return, which as a contender who's a little bit light on running back, I know that Henry doesn't help me this year, but I've really considering offering like T. Higgins or something, like a legit young asset for Henry to get him next year. I think Henry, although he has a ton of usage recently, his career carries and touches do not match up with super high level touches. So I think he could still be good for a couple of years. I think if you are a contender and have Henry, you hold. I mean, obviously he's not helping you this year, but that doesn't mean your window's closed next year.
Mhm.
So it comes down to return. I actually do own Ridley in our big league, and I haven't even considered moving him. I'm not going to move him. I don't see the point. He'll only be 27 next year. Did he say he's not playing at all this year? Was there an update, or he's just out indefinitely?
Out indefinitely, but I think
Okay.
the assumption was since the Falcons have not been in contention, there's no reason
Just
for
kinda
him to
sitting out.
risk it.
Okay. Yeah, so I wouldn't move him. I mean, all these players, I think you could still get decent value for Ridley because I think a lot of people think he's coming back. Robert Woods was never valuable anyways, despite how he produced. So I
Mhm.
think he's a straight hold because I just flat don't think he'd get it. Even when, Robert Woods was a top 15 receiver, nobody traded anything for him because it's like, it's Robert Woods. Who cares? He's just not a heavy hitting name. So, honestly, man, I think they're all holds, unfortunately, unless you're just, God, even in a total rebuild, I think you at least hold till the offseason. Nobody's
So
going to trade anything right now, I don't think. I think some
sure.
people would still make a move for Henry. Like I said, somebody like me that might move a Higgins for Henry. If you're in a full rebuild, I would take that. But,
Mhm.
how many people I have the luxury of doing that because of my wide receiver room. Like T. Higgins doesn't play for me anyways. He's third or fourth guy off my bench. So, a lot of people don't have that option, but obviously I haven't made that offer either. So I'm still kind of struggling with it myself.
So I mean, as a contender, I mean, your only position right now out of the players we mentioned is Calvin Ridley. So clearly, the better bet is to hold here, obviously, unless you get an
I think
offer
so.
that is out of this world, or at least you take a slight hit on value in which that you will be comfortable taking. So
Yeah.
how I'm feeling in a couple leagues, well, one big one, which I of course literally like 2 weeks ago, I traded Ryan Tannehill, Saquon Barkley, Courtland Sutton, Terry McLaurin, a first, Noah Fant, and I got in return Dak Prescott, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, and
Oh,
plus maybe
man.
one other. Yeah, it's looking bad right now. And this all
At least you
happened.
got Prescott and Superflex.
Exactly my point. So that's a big pro. That's a big pro. But now I'm sitting here feeling, I mean, yes, that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade, right? That's an upgrade. Superflex is great to own Prescott. But now I'm sitting here 8-1 and I own Ridley and Woods. And my team is somewhat deep in a sense that, I could like plug in Cooks and Gibson, things like that. But
It's
now
not
when
bad.
I'm sitting at kind of a similar position that you're sitting at with Ridley, as in like you can compete without him if we're being honest. Your team's good
Sure.
enough to do it, right? But at what point do we hold with the value that we feel they'll come back as? I mean, I'm a big believer in Ridley. I'm not gonna lie. I know you are. I mean, even without Matt Ryan, who knows what Matt Ryan's probably gonna be on the Falcons next year. Let's just propose that. Ridley is very good. Even if Matt Ryan wasn't on the Falcons next year, I think Ridley, honestly, this is a bold statement, maybe perhaps because we haven't seen Ridley without Matt Ryan. I think Ridley is quarterback proof. Like, I personally think
Yeah.
Ridley's gameplay, like, I think Ridley is good enough. The only thing he had against him literally was that he was a little bit older coming out.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
his amount of NFL hits and in receptions and being hit at a certain age is still pretty young in a sense.
Mhm.
Like he's old, but he's not old in terms of gameplay.
Sure.
So
Sure.
so so let me try to get to my point here. I'm sorry for scrambling on, but I really think that Ridley comes back next year, and I don't think he
Oh, I
loses
do too.
value. I don't. But go ahead. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think even prior to Ridley taking some time for himself, this would have been a bad year to move him anyways, because he wasn't playing well or at an
Top
elite level. I
25,
think,
exactly.
yeah. So I think no matter what, all the odds are stacked against him this year that there's no reason to um, sell him anyways. I just don't think it would be there either way. So, it's almost I mean, I'd hate to say a perfect storm, but a lot of people would probably be panic selling Ridley this year because he's not playing at a high level, which you don't trade guys when they're not playing well. I think that's one of the worst decisions you could make. It kind of forces your hand to just hold a good asset who's having a down year.
So when you say that, which I completely agree, I definitely agree. I mean, hold an asset. There's no reason to trade him. But on the other end of the spectrum, I have multiple teams in my league that I'm contending. I'm 8-1 or whatever it is. And now I have Woods on that end. So my offers that I've gotten, and Tyler, as we spoke before, I mean, you are my dynasty football thesaurus. You are my dynasty football dictionary. I come to you with almost every offer or counseling I need. So I received an offer for basically I'm contending. So I received an offer for Damian Harris plus a first plus a second for Calvin Ridley. Then I also received additionally from an individual owner, someone separate, I received Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Calvin Ridley, which I wouldn't accept to begin with because first off, Clyde Edwards-Helaire does not help me. Damian Harris helps me. And if that first and second, if we can negotiate to make it early, okay, so be it. But I'm also inclined to hold because I know that Calvin Ridley as an asset, he is a wide receiver 1 when he plays. And I still think I'm selling below his value. But on the other end of the spectrum, I know I should take a small hit in value if it helps me compete. So that's the battle that we are facing right now. And that's what I'm sure a ton of people are facing is rebuilding.
Sure.
Okay. If you're rebuilding, hold him. Who cares? Right. Cause you're not in contention anyways. But like, I don't know, man. Like I'm so confused on what to do with him. So it's just tough, man. It's so tough. What do you think?
Where does that first project that was in the Harris trade?
So he's got multiple. I mean, he's got his own, which is 101, which I wouldn't request. I mean, he's not going to move that. He's got basically off the top of my head, like 101, 104, 108, 9, 12 or something. Like 4 or 5 first. One of them's 101. One of them is like top 4. And the other ones are later. I would request like not the 101, but the second earliest, if you will. But still, what would that give me this year? I mean, yeah, it's cool. I mean, I could reset the clock, but would I rather have Ridley or would I rather have a Patriots running back who's probably not going to do jack next year and then a random dart throw of a class that's I'm not excited about? Or would I rather have Ridley who's probably quarterback proof?
Yeah, I think that's the tricky part is the running back you're getting back. I mean, Harris looks really good this year, but what does that translate to long term for New England? I mean, they're never safe. I mean, a mid first with this class, I mean, it's super flex. So obviously,
is it good enough?
That pushes people down. I don't think so. I wouldn't make that trade, man. But I think Ridley's too good. Whereas I don't think going into next season, if you don't win the title per se, and you go into next season with Harris and a mid first, I don't think you like it as much as going in with Ridley. And that's it. Again, if you win the title, you might be like, oh, that was totally worth it.
The greatest player of all time.
Yeah, but if you don't, I don't think you like that trade.
So, okay. I mean, and obviously I don't want to get too much into my own teams because I want to hear your opinions on your teams, but a big news shocker is, of course, on this team that I got Ridley, I have Robert Woods, which he just tore his ACL. My trade is not looking as good, but you know what? The trade looks great at the time, and that's Dynasty. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. But in our big league, I mean, you're in the same position. You're contending. You're top, I think, ranked 3 right now. Obviously, there's a lot of close rankings between wins and losses, but you have a big decision too. I mean, you can survive without Ridley playing, but you could also greatly, you could benefit if you move Ridley for someone that can help you now. So, I mean, with current value and not looking at Dynasty websites, because Dynasty rankings have Ridley down a lot, brother. A lot.
Oh, for sure.
A lot. a lot. It's actually kind of sad. I don't think he should be down that low. But I mean, what do you accept as a contender in your position? Honestly, Tyler, you can afford not to have him. You can afford to have Ridley on your bench, if we're being honest. But if you needed to move him for a win now situation, what would be the absolute lowest you would take for him? Tyler, can you hear me?
Ridley.
Oh, wait. Can you hear me, Tyler?
I can hear you, man. You're back, I think. I was just saying that it would take a running back, and I don't think anybody would give me the type of running back I would need, which I don't blame anybody. I mean, Ridley comes with a tremendous amount of risk. I mean, obviously, I feel like most of us think he'll be back next year, but what if Ridley never plays again? He doesn't need the money. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that cares about the life. He's quiet off the field. He doesn't care. Like, he doesn't need this for his. I don't think Calvin Ridley identifies as an NFL player, if that makes sense. Like, there's guys, if they're not in the NFL, they don't know who they are. I don't think that's Calvin Ridley. So if Calvin Ridley decides after 3-4 weeks that life is better without football, he might never come back. Which then, you probably should have traded him. But, nobody has a crystal ball. But, I mean, obviously in our big league, Brendan, you've experienced it for 2 years now stepping in. You don't get much for any asset. So there is no way I'm trading Ridley in that league. I mean, I might get
you get a second, late second, probably a third.
I might get let's see, Jared Cook or something. I'm not trading Calvin Ridley.
So I've been thinking about comps and who I would feel comfortable trading Ridley. And you know what? This is becoming a Ridley video, and I'm purposely okay with that because he's a big asset. He really is. Man. This was people don't realize, like, this was obviously a spontaneous, like, news source, like, coming out saying Ridley's out indefinitely, and I'm taking that as he's out for the year. And this is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I think personally right now, I would put Calvin Ridley like on the exact same running back tier, like exact as J.K. Dobbins, man. Sure. Exact. I think that's the closest comp I think that's fair. Get. You think so?
I think that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, both of them equal risk. I think both of them have a great shot of coming back and producing crazily. I mean, granted, Ridley's already done it. Dobbins has at the end of last year's season, but I think that's the closest I could get to him. I'd probably peg them both at like RB and wide receiver, like 18, 19 right now. I mean, I know that's kind of pushed back a little bit, but that's only because of the uncertainty. And like the second that we know they're coming back, they're having a great preseason, they jump up 10 spots, and then, hey, I might sell them. You know what I mean? But I'm just joking. But you know what I'm saying?
I think it's fair, man.
Is that fair?
I think it's totally fair. I mean, I think you also have to factor in what a horrendous year of fantasy football it's been. I mean, Calvin Ridley was what, WR 3 or 4 last year. And then, I mean, he's not putting up the numbers you had hoped, but he missed 2 games and he averaged about 12 points a game. I know that's not exciting. Everybody wants their assets in 20 to 30. It's 12 points a game, man. And based on this year, that's a lot. That's a lot of points this year. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of points this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're seeing scores all over the place that are in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. I mean, it's hard to have a good producing team this year. It's very, very difficult. So 12 points, that's pretty good.
I'll take it.
I would too.
All right, man. So obviously there's a lot of big news around OBJ going to the Rams. Clearly, I mean, the Rams look so good, bro. And NFL-wise, I mean,
look great.
Taking a Von Miller, I mean, they got Jalen Ramsey, they got Aaron Donald. I know Robert Woods, that's a big hit, but they just got OBJ. I mean, does OBJ offer something now, especially with Robert Woods coming down with the ACL tear. I mean, what do you predict happens? I mean, it seems like a great resurgence for OBJ if he can keep his attitude off the field.
Yeah, I said it all over the forum today, Brendan, that I've been saying it for months. I honestly wouldn't even pay a third rounder for Beckham. I think he's a terrible asset. I think he's a terrible teammate. How long is it until he destroys the Rams locker room? How long until he's not pleased because Cooper Kupp deserves?
Cooper Kupp's a freaking legend, bro.
Yeah, he deserves 20 targets a game.
Cooper Kupp is a freaking legend right now, dude. Unbelievable production.
I would, if I owned Beckham, I would flip him after this week. I don't care if he goes out and makes 30 grabs for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. You flip him immediately on Tuesday morning when rosters unlock.
So you're saying he's
Get
cancerous?
Get out.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people have held Beckham because, this could be the year he comes back. This is the year he could have a resurgence.
Bro, we've been thinking that.
This is the year. It's not going to happen. So if he gets a value spike in the positive, get out immediately.
Sure. Okay.
Because Beckham's not a good asset. He's a name. He's a straight up name. It's like, I'm trying to think, when you think of name value and then you look at like the
AJ Green, bro.
Yeah. A couple years back.
T.Y. Hilton.
And go look
Andre
at
Johnson
where these guys are actually scoring versus their name value, and it's insane.
And honestly, the guys I just gave, I'm not trying to lower to OBJ. The guys I just named, just like they aged. It wasn't like they created the drama OBJ had. It's just the guys I named, like you were happy to have them on your team. Like
sure, man.
AJ Green, like 2017, 2018, whatever it was.
Yeah,
like, that was when, man. That's when the downhill happened. So
and Beckham's not young. And personally, when I read the Robert Woods news, I got excited for you. You own Van Jefferson. That's who I'm excited for.
I love Van Jefferson here. I love not Van
Beckham at all. Jefferson's played well with 2 good receivers in the lineup. Now he only has 1 because Beckham is not a good receiver. He's not.
Dude, Matt Stafford's going to be good regardless. Let's be honest. Matt Stafford's going to be great.
It's going to be great, man. So I would sell immediately if he has a good game. I'd
sell immediately off the hype that he's probably
I would too.
Right
I would have sold this week.
Yeah. So, next question.
I would have sold 4 years ago like I did, Brendan. So
I would have sold after that one-handed catch.
I traded him straight up for Gurley 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. Paid off. Until hopefully you sold Gurley, like 3 years ago.
I actually sold Gurley for what looked like a haul the year before he blew up. So, I got out, but then made a bad trade. So
tough.
What are you going to do?
Well, you live and you learn. And clearly, Tyler, you have not learned in Dynasty football, except you've learned to trade for young stud wide receivers, which typically
you never fully learn, Brendan.
Exactly. Too many unpredictable assets.
Year to year, man. Point. It's even Dynasty. It's year to year. You have no idea who's going to be good.
Exactly.
All.
So next topic I want to talk about. There is a lot of running backs starting that maybe could be starting caliber running backs, but a lot of starting running backs that are out for this week. Nick Chubb's out. Kamara's out. Whoever should be the starter of San Francisco's out. Just joking. I mean, Elijah Mitchell's starting. But anyways, you got Latavius Murray starting. You've got is it Latavius Murray? Mark Ingram. I think
Ingram,
the Saints,
yeah.
The Saints got Mark Ingram back. So sorry. Mark Ingram starting. Dearness Johnson is starting. I mean, dude, running back central right now is looking a little crazy. I mean, how are you proceeding with this type of RB field? I mean, are you active on waivers? Are you just these players are already taken? What's happening? I mean, it's nuts, man.
Unless, again, going back to being a legit contender, unless you're a legit contender, I would be shopping these guys heading into tomorrow because there are contending teams that are probably freaking out if their standings are close. That, nobody wants to take a loss any given week. In the end, there's only 3 weeks that matter in fantasy, but you still got to get there. So I'd be contacting the Chubb owner. I'd be hitting up Kamara owner. And, I don't think you can expect a haul. But if somebody has to win this week to stay alive and they have Chubb, I'm sorry. When Johnson was the bell cow.
He was
Dude
cold,
put up
bro.
like 30 points, man.
He was cold. He was
So hit him
cold.
up. Johnson's not a good
It's
asset
cold.
long term. Hit him up. Sell him tonight.
I just saw a trade that somebody traded Odell Beckham for Mark Ingram. I was like, wow. I mean,
I wouldn't want either one of them, but at least
yeah,
you got out, at least you got out of Beckham.
But the number 2 position in the league, like number 2 ranked guy, traded OBJ even after the news to get Mark Ingram because he needs to win. He's got Kamara. He needs to win. He needs to win. Keep it going.
Running backs are tough, man. You know, I'm a legit contender that's thin at running back, but hey, I hit the jackpot with trading for Connor this offseason.
Dude,
You know,
nuts,
he gives
brother.
me something, you know.
And yeah, none of
He's
us would've
probably
guessed.
better than Aaron Jones has been this year in reality. So
Bro,
he's
none of us
probably
would
my
have guessed.
RB1.
None of us would have guessed James freaking Conner, bro. Come on. I mean, I'm giving you 100% kudos. I'm not taking anything away from you. You were even suspected James Conner, which you were well aware. But he honestly, you made the trade because you traded out of sense that it could give you some decent depth, which purposely like totally acceptable. But you made a trade that is like freaking godly right now. I mean, that's dope, bro. You deserve it. James Conner is legit legendary right now. Come on.
It was a good trade, and I traded for him when he was a free agent because I banked on that. Hey, whoever signs him's probably going to use him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got excited when he landed in Arizona. I mean, Edmonds has played a nice role too, but like
you can't fault yourself for that. I love that.
Yeah,
in a sense, like
sure.
In a sense, I'm not taking anything away. I mean, you predicted that the team would use him.
It worked out, man. It worked out.
Dude, that's a genius dynasty trade. And so you're out here thinking, okay, should I give up a lot for these type of assets that I think will be okay, right? Or should I buy some cheaper assets and pray that one of them hits?
That's what I went for. That's what but had those first few weeks, Brendan, do you remember how ugly that trade looked? Do you know who I traded for James Conner? Think about the first 4 weeks and how
was it a wideout? Was it a wideout?
Think about how ugly a trade could look in the first 4 weeks.
Remind me, who was it? Who
was the best wideout in the first handful of games?
Oh, don't tell me Mike Williams, bro.
Yeah, I traded Mike Williams. So I mean,
but it looks good now. I mean,
it looks all right now.
Excuse my language, Jesus Christ, I just dropped an F-bomb. But I mean, look at it this way. Mike Williams has not done much sense.
No, he's back to Mike Williams.
And that's so disappointing. But dude,
Yeah.
James Conner like looks like Pittsburgh
Beast,
James Conner. I
Yeah,
mean,
played well.
dude, he's a winner. He's honestly a league winner right now.
He probably
I'm
is.
not denying that. I'm not
I agree.
denying that for sure. But you also have to realize, though, I mean, Mike Williams, I mean, he flashed, right? Well, you sold him before he flashed, but I mean, what else can you do with Mike Williams? I mean, would you feel comfortable starting him? I have him in multiple leagues.
No.
And like, I don't either. Like, I got a couple wins out of him, but what do I do now? I don't feel comfortable.
For sure, man.
Him.
Yeah, and I'm glad I made that trade. You know, I went out last week and made a contender trade that, you know, I can live with as well. So I think you got to try and, I mean, you hope your trades work out. But I mean, I traded a first and a future second.
Exactly. Hope. God dang.
A late first and a future second for Keenan Allen. I mean, I'm excited about that trade.
Honestly, that was a phenomenal trade. I thought that was a steal of a trade. Even beyond this year, Keenan Allen. The thing about Keenan Allen is even beyond this year, he has, I don't know his contract situation. I'm assuming he's obviously in LA for at least another year.
I think he's got 2 years.
Yeah, he is teaching Los Angeles the lead. He's basically the leader that they need. If you think about it, he is going to help Justin Herbert literally hone his craft, and he's going to be a great, reliable target. I love that trade. Keenan Allen has been criminally underrated his entire dynasty career. Same with Mike Evans, bro. I booked Keenan Allen and Mike Evans as like the same. The only difference is Keenan
100%.
Allen was hurt nonstop, you know, his first few years, but still, even right now, I know Keenan Allen has been down a little bit, but he's
coming back, man. Did you see his stat line last week?
I didn't.
He caught 12 of 13 balls for 104 yards. It's just like,
love it.
It's just piling up points, man.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, you made some great trades.
Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't.
So well, first off, you know, I was going after Cook and whatnot, and somebody who has a very stacked team also managed to land Cook and Madison, which I was obviously very thankful for their own sake. Not a bad trade at all. I love that trade for them. That was phenomenal. In a sense, like I attempted, and I'm worried. I don't even think I have a top 3 team. But let me bounce to another league. In one of my other big leagues, like 4 trades went down. This team that had Hopkins, Fournette, and Jacobs was last. They were like 1-8, 1-9, whatever it is.
Wow.
So they decided that they need to trade and rebuild. And this is the same team that last season gave up 3 firsts for DK Metcalf. And this is why I am opposed to giving up 3 firsts for anyone.
That's
also, this is why I'm opposed to accepting 3 firsts for anyone. I mean, you just can't. It's too sketch, brother. It's too sketch.
That could be 3 no hits easily.
You have to get somebody. So anyway, so this all just happened today in this league. And this is off recollection. I was working when all this happened. So first, this person traded like 2 seconds, a third, and maybe like a Van Jefferson type. The person rebuilding took that and sent DeAndre Hopkins, which seems light. I mean, like, I get it. It is what it is. It seems light.
Hopkins' value is not going anywhere positive.
Yeah, but still a first, maybe. I'm pretty sure I offered more, but whatever. Then and then they gave up. They gave up kind of a haul, like a first, a third, and another throwing player for Fournette, which is like Fournette's a good win now piece. And the person who lost, the person who lost Derrick Henry got Fournette, which is good. You filled in your loss. I get it. So be it.
I think Fournette's safe for a year or two because I think he's Tampa's guy next year too.
You know what's so funny? Now that I'm rethinking, I don't think the person that lost Henry got him. I think it was another contender. But whatever. Gotcha. I get it. I get it. It is what it is. I still seem steep, but you're contending. I appreciate going all in. Now, this is where it gets absolutely bonkers. All right. This is probably one of the craziest trades I've legit ever seen. So now this owner who won year 2, we're year 4 of Dynasty. I won last year. They won year 2. Their team is super, like, same strategy as you last year. And even this year, maybe I'm going to name the wide receivers that I know for sure they had last year. Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Adams. They had TJ Hawkinson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. But now what gets a little dicey is the running backs were like Chris Carson, Chase Edmonds, and like that's it, right? Okay.
Not a great place to be.
Not a great place, but they also won 2 years ago. So I won this past year. They won 2 years. So who cares? I was roasting them down. No RB strategies, bogus as hell, but whatever. They won. So they
are an RB guy,
bro. They also have AJ Brown. Like, dude, they have a ton of great wide receivers. And the thing is, offseason after offseason, they refuse to trade even their first round picks, anything for anything, right?
Sure.
So and they got Jamar Chase right now. They traded up, like they traded Michael Thomas, which was bogus, for like 2 firsts, and ended up with Jamar Chase, which good for them. I mean, huge trade. I thought they were trading up to take like Travis Etienne at the time he was there, or Javonte Williams, but he didn't. But I was thinking, you're a dumbass. Like, what are you doing? But clearly it worked out.
Good pick.
Yeah,
Brendan, you always go with the WRs, man. Come on.
I know, but still, dude, when you have that stacked of wide receivers, why wouldn't you take a top RB? So it was so questionable, but whatever, it worked out. But now, after all this time, when he could have gone back to back, or really, like, because he had the best quarterbacks, a top 5 tight end, top wide receivers, all he was missing was running back. So we were thinking, like, dude, trade your assets. It took him 3.5 years. He just traded today a 2022 first, 2023 first, and Cortland Sutton for Josh Jacobs, bro.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, what?
I really like Jacobs still long term, but that's pricey.
Dude, I don't like Jacobs long term that much. You really do? I mean, dude, RB2 in the future.
That's expensive. That's really expensive.
Come on.
I mean, he must have. I bet you he kind of shopped around, and maybe that was his best option.
Dude, I would almost take that for Chubb, Harris, Cook, or Barkley, like almost independently.
That's a lot.
I paid 2 firsts and Boyd for Barkley.
Yeah, that's pretty nice trade. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a ton.
I'm not trying to be an ass, but I mean, including league-wide value, I mean, even for me, like when I traded for Kamara, I basically gave up Evans, Cooper, and Gaskin and a first, which I guess is a lot, pretty close to 2 firsts and Sutton, who I consider a first. I mean,
Sure.
bro, I'm not trying to roast this guy, but he
Right.
roasts me quite a bit. But like, come on, that's way
That's a lot,
too much
man.
for Jacobs, bro. Are you? I mean, that's
I
Sutton.
think a
probably
first
equals
and
Jacobs.
Sutton should have first and Sutton should have been sufficient. It seems like,
It's
especially in
exactly.
super flex, because firsts are.
Wait, it's not super flex.
Oh, it's not
super
okay.
flex.
Yeah, that's expensive, man. I think a first and Sutton is sufficient, and if the owner says no, you move on.
Oh, dude, honestly, I was appalled because this guy never makes moves for running backs, and like
Then he goes all in on Jacobs.
Even
yeah.
me as a contender, bro. Jacobs in this league is running back number 29, and
Yeah,
so the
he's not
next
had
guy,
a good year.
the next guy who has Kenny Drake, who's ranked number 30, he was like, "She hit me up, brother. I'll sell him for a single first." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
man, and I think that's a good segue that, sometimes you don't have to get caught up on names. We just talked about name value versus where they actually fall. What could he have bought James Conner for?
Way less.
Way
James
less.
Conner would have been a way better buy.
Way less.
A single first, if less.
Yeah. So sometimes, I get that move long term too. I still think Jacobs is a solid running back. Maybe not an RB1, but solid. But you paid an RB1 price.
You paid a stud. You paid a top
paid a
5
stud,
RB1.
Stud
so
price
can I
for
tell you
sure.
something? This league is super against me, like super against trading with me because I'm super active and like they all just talk shit and just blah 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 and like they get into my head, I get into their head, whatever it is. But like it is what it is. You know how I get sometimes. Sometimes I get into a little rant type of mood and
Sure.
whatever it is. But these guys literally would refuse to trade with me at reasonable prices and then go make moves like that, bro. That's why I tell them, like, they say my values are way off, but then you go do that. Come on.
That's expensive. Yeah, that's
come on, bro.
Yeah, that's a stud price. That might not land you an out and out top 5, but it's a fair offer to try and land a top
that's fair for Chubb. Let's be honest.
Sure. A guy that I think the only guy right now there's no chance anywhere you can buy him is probably Taylor. I don't care what your price is. You're not getting him.
100% agree. But listen,
best back in Dynasty.
Two first plus a top, like a wide receiver 2. That's probably pretty close to Harris, Chubb, easily Gibson. I'd much rather have Gibson than Jacobs. Well, Henry.
But I wouldn't pay that for Gibson either. Gibson outside of
for sure wouldn't pay that for Gibson. But
outside of a big game, he's not been very good.
I would much rather have Gibson than Jacobs.
Yeah, I can see the argument.
Come on, bro. Gibson over. In my opinion, that seems fair for McCaffrey right now. That seems fair for Barkley right now. Come on.
Being as how you traded 2 firsts and Boyd for Barkley, it's absolutely in that range. Sutton's a better wide receiver prospect, dynasty asset, whatever you want to call it, than Boyd. Way better. Nobody's taking Boyd over Sutton in dynasty. Nobody.
Dude, I don't know, man.
That's wild. That's pricey, man. It just shows that, owner to owner, you don't know what the trade talks are. Maybe he was denied for everybody and was just like, I got to do something.
The thing is, he did not even attempt to hit me up, and I own.
He doesn't trade with you.
Well, exactly my point. That's the problem. So like these people are like, yo, F him, because they know like I give a hard time or I hustle. Which I hustle. Like if you offer me a trade, I'll counter. Then you counter again. Sure. I'll say, okay, add this little type of piece. And like, if you're gonna let it break the deal, then screw it. I don't care. You're gonna let that's on you. You're not gonna add a little 2025 6th round pick. That's on you. But I'm hustling for that last little piece. But anyway, so they refuse to trade with me, but then they hose themselves year in, year out. And this guy managed to trade. Then good for him because he made one deal. He sold like Fournette, or he sold Hopkins first, and he started a chain of trades within literally an hour. And he got rid of Fournette, Hopkins, and Jacobs and walked away with like 4 first-round picks. Yes, bro.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to capitalize on when the league's going nuts and all the contenders are like, oh, this dude made a trade. I got a rebuttal, but
who's willing to sell?
Kind of looping back to what you were talking about, Brendan. Yeah, I think you're one of the best owners to trade with because you're very
thank you.
You're very interactive. You're never just like, nah, dude, I'm not trading him. You're just always like, well, make an offer, or hey, this is my price, which I appreciate. This is my price way more than somebody being like, make an offer. Cause everybody's so, look at the trade that went down. Everybody is all over the place with values that at times it's like, I don't even know what to offer,
Everybody has a price, if we're being honest.
In our
You're
big
lying if
league,
you
Brendan,
disagree.
I've been looking for a tight end for weeks.
I've been trying.
The owner that has Pitts and Hawkinson, I really didn't want to. She said she really needed a young receiver, so I finally bit the bullet and said, I'll give you T. Higgins straight up for Freiermuth. Straight up. Helps both teams. You get a young, good wide receiver. I get a young, what looks like good tight end.
Bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
No response.
Don't do that. That's such a mistake, Tyler.
You don't think Freiermuth looks good?
He does, as of recently, a couple touchdowns this past game and like one tutty previous game. He does, but Tyler, granted, that's the beautiful thing. It's demand based on league to league.
Sure.
Bro, you're literally contemplating giving up T. Higgins for Pat Freiermuth. If you put that literally anywhere on the internet, bro, you would get shat on. Which maybe they understand enough about our league setup, but yeah. Bro, come on.
It was about 70-30 do it on Dynasty League football because I've explained our league. So I've posted all of it.
Strapped. Literally, what picks do you have this upcoming year? If you can recall off the top of your head, anything. You got any picks?
Not many, because I traded them all because I don't like the class. So
do you have okay, dude, then stick with the joke of bro. I get it. T. Higgins has Jamar Chase, blah blah blah, but Tyler Boyd's probably phasing out. But bro, T. Higgins for Pat Freiermuth, like for an extra like 5 points a week. I get it. That's a deal breaker in a lot of cases in this league, but I don't know, man. It sounds too good to be true.
It does. It's pricey, man. And I was looking at it more
to the receiver of the Higgins person.
Yeah, I agree. I think it sounds pricey, and I was looking more this year into the future. I think Freiermuth's got all the tools to be a top 8 tight end. And again, I'm dealing from a position of strength. She is too. T. Higgins is my 4th, 5th guy off the bench. It doesn't mean that it's a great trade, but it
doesn't mean you should also sacrifice somebody that's going to produce a lot more in a flex position for you. Sure.
But no response. So that must mean
I will trade you Gesicki for T. Higgins, bro, if you want.
Yeah, and I've kind of thought about that, and again, I've really even struggled to send that text that I would do that, and I kind of
Here's the deal, because the known factor of it would get accepted is a lot different than the unknown factor. It is. Let's think about it. Gesicki is a way better option than Freiermuth, at least right now, probably for one more year. The thing is, though, I would accept that, and that is a type of, I don't know if it's a fear or anxiety of dynasty football in a sense. If that would straight up be accepted, you feel like you would be shorted right now. Between the fact that if you sent that for Freiermuth, you don't know the reaction you would get. Bro, I totally get it. And it's a science, dude. That's a psychological science right there, if you think about it.
It's scary, man. I know that I can move Higgins in my 2023 first for Kittle. Yeah, I know I can do that, but it makes me nervous.
That's sketch. Low-key, that's sketch.
But you look last week and it's like, oh, Kittle's back healthy and he's freaking ridiculous. He put up 100 yards in his first game back, but
yeah, let's talk.
You're never comfortable trading for a tight end because they are all over the place.
Let's talk. If you have any type of thing to offer, I know Gesicki just threw up a 0. I don't think that depreciates his value at all. He's still going to be a top 6 tight end after this. That game was awful. First off, he went 0 for 7. He had 7 targets, bro. Which don't blame that on Gesicki. My point is, though, no matter what, I'm still looking at the overall factor. I don't care values this, value this. I look at league to league. Yes, I do care a little bit, I guess, but I'm looking at overall factor. Higgins for Gesicki is still an overpay in my opinion. But you know what? In this league, I think it's spot on. I think Higgins for Freiermuth is absurd, brother. Absurd.
Yeah,
if that's what it takes, it takes. It's not absurd.
I was really interested on Dynasty League football just because, I've posted the Pitts trades, the Kittle trades, the Hawkinson trades, everybody on there that's, a daily interactor knows our league and how crazy the value is. And I was a little bit surprised that, like I said, probably 70-30 were like, yeah, you're dealing from strength. It's expensive. It's not as expensive as every other trade you've been offered for a tight end. And most of them are like, yeah, do it.
Here's what you should do. Try to trade Higgins or something for a couple firsts or something or someone, and then just draft.
Would never happen in our league, though. That's the problem. Never.
Here's a better option to take. Try to get a couple late firsts or something, and then draft a few tight ends, and then trade those tight ends for perceived more. And then grab a bigger stud like you're trying to sell Higgins for, grab a stud, and then trade that stud for someone bigger at tight end. Boom.
Well, and I've obviously been trying to do this for weeks, and it's becoming – I mean, Ingram has been good for 3 or 4 weeks now. He's not a big name, but Ingram's a top 10 tight end easily every week. So, as he's kind of gained his steam, has made it like, oh man, you just need to chill out, and whatever you get from Ingram, you get. I mean, he's been in, like he's at like 10.5 the last 3 games in a row. I mean, for a tight end,
there's a million points in our league.
Yeah,
baby.
That's a top 3
I'll
tight
take
end,
that. I'll take that.
I don't know, man. It's kind of like you said that being a contender, you get caught up in the frenzy. And I've been trying to trade for a tight end for 5 weeks. That it's just like, let's just get one done, but I don't know. I was a little surprised that people did say do the Higgins trade. I'm
not on board, but yeah, I get it if you do it, but I'm not on board. Just as a heads up.
And I don't know how I would feel if she texted me and was like, okay, I'm in. I don't know if I'd be like, all right, or if I'd be like, ugh. Because I don't like to back out. Once you say, hey, I'll do this, if somebody's like, me too, don't be that person that's like, I don't know. I agree. So it's out there. And I think the longer things stay out there, it's okay to at times be like, well, I didn't hear from you for a week and a half. So,
I mean, bro, the week and a half is a long time. She's definitely a chance. It's such a good offer that she's obviously thinking about it. And you know what? You have the right to say, you know what? Never mind. It's already been over a week. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's it's the final push as a contender that you're just like, I got to get this. I mean, getting Keenan Allen was huge for me. I love it. He's not a guaranteed starter on my team, but at the same
doesn't matter, bro. He allows you the opportunity to trade Higgins now for that crappy tight end.
And I feel better that you're plugging in Allen with Herbert versus, Judy with Bridgewater, or now I have my flexes are Godwin with Brady, Allen with Herbert. I love DJ Moore, but you can't start DJ Moore anymore. His quarterbacks are atrocious. You can't start DJ Moore anymore. So DJ Moore sliding out of my lineup and moving in Keenan Allen was almost seamless, because I think DJ Moore is a top 10 receiver with a quarterback, but right now you can't play DJ Moore. I agree. You just can't.
I agree. Hey, Tyler, listen, man, you got a lot on your mind. I'm very excited to see what happens. Honestly, we've been pushing an hour already. It's great to, talk about Calvin Ridley for the longest time, but
and donuts.
This year's just been crazy. I can't recall a year that's within 1 week. The Ridley announcement, the Henry injury, the Woods ACL, the Ruggs.
Think about how long Barkley's been out. CMC,
exactly. Chubb's out for another
it's
week.
Hideous.
So.
Yeah.
That's dynasty football for you. And I think one thing that we can all take away is nothing's for sure. Things are unpredictable, and you need to prepare. Depth is more important than ever. Tyler, listen, man, I really can't thank you enough for giving your insight. Trade deadlines are approaching throughout multiple leagues, almost every league. So I think it's important that we all really think about our assets, make moves accordingly, whether we're rebuilding or contending. But above all, stay patient. Your team will perform the way it's supposed to perform. So anything else you want to say before we sign off here today?
Just the same thing you and I talk about all the time, this time of year, any time of year, look at your team without rose-colored glasses. I don't care if you're 6-3, but your best player is Cordero Patterson. You're not a contender, Or look at your team if you're like your team. What are you, Brendan? 5-4? Your team's good enough to win.
It is. If the cards line up now, so
I mean, you don't. And then you got to look at your league. My wife's team is ridiculous. If she doesn't win the league this year, I don't even know how to make a championship roster anymore. Mm-hmm. So, you got to also look that, do I trade 4 first-rounders to go get this guy, and then I'm still not as good as this team? Mm-hmm. Obviously, any team can win any week, but Steph's team looks unbeatable. I mean, flat out looks unbeatable. But hey, I thought I've lost. What do I always say? I've lost.
Your team was unbeatable for a while.
For 2 years and didn't even win a playoff game. In 2 years. So
that's the beauty of it. It's the beauty of Dynasty football, baby.
My brother's team was what? The 8th seed last year, went all the way to the finals against you.
Yeah. Shocking. I mean, he's got some good players.
That right.
He's got Lamar Jackson and DK Metcalf. I mean, god dang, that's a nice.
He's also 2-7 now.
Yeah, now it's. I know. So that's the beauty of it. Tyler, listen, man, keep grinding. I think one thing that's really humbled me and thrown a lot of perspective is the league scoring of our big league together. I mean, it's not like one player is so dominant in a sense because there's not as many bonuses. There's not as many this, that. And I really respect that. I think there's a lot more skill that goes along in terms of winning a league like this. So I'm incredibly excited. I'm incredibly excited to see where we're at next week for the next episode, because a lot of us are sitting in that 5-4, 4-5, 6-3
Our league's
category.
tight, man.
It's the tightest.
Somebody good is going to miss the playoffs. Somebody will miss the playoffs. A game over 500 or at 500. You can guarantee it.
This is in the hunt. So
tough.
All I can say is I'm incredibly excited. I appreciate your time today, your insight, all the time you take for me when I shoot you a text. Should I do this? Should I do that? Which is almost every day. Multiple.
I love it, man. All I'm doing is sitting at my desk at work. I don't need to be paying attention to that. I'd rather pay attention to a Dynasty trade than another loan.
It's more exciting. More exciting.
No doubt, man. I crunch enough numbers. I need to crunch some names.
Yeah, I love it. So awesome. Tyler, we'll touch base tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow. Everybody viewing this, good luck. Thank you for your patience with our uploads. And just remember, Tyler, what should they remember? You take it away this time.
I think you got to remember, you're in this for life.